All right. Welcome out, everybody. It's another beautiful day, another beautiful week. And we're excited to share some of the great things that we're doing here. And hopefully they will be able to help you out a little bit. And just for the record, I just got a message here from Steve who says, webinar today? Well, Steve, you shouldn't be asking me 1 minute after start time, just so you know. I can say that to Steve. Steve, hopefully you are listening. It says yes, so I'm guessing you're in here already. But in any case, for those of you that are in here, in attendance, and watching from around the world, please feel free to say hello. Let me know who's here. And I know who the first person is going to be that says hello, because it's always the same person who's fastest to the draw on that. But say hello. Let me know who's here. We're going to give it a few seconds to get people in here. Oh, it was Steve that actually responded first, so I was wrong this week. Time is a virtue, he says. Well, Steve, it's 1:01, and I've been on here for a minute, so that would be 1 o'clock. So time is a virtue. I agree, which is why I was exactly on time. I was sitting here, and I hit start, and it turned to 1 o'clock. I think you need to check your watches, my friend. Check those watches. All right. Yeah. Steve said being on time is a virtue. There's Dale. Dale's always first, and today he was second. Late is late, Steve says. Well, when it starts at 1 o'clock, and I'm here at 1 o'clock, and even if I hit start, it doesn't start till 1 o'clock. I'm confused. Very confused, but that's Steve. Steve is a confused man. He's been working with me for about 7 years. That proves beyond a doubt that he is confused. So Steve says 1:01. Nope, sorry, Steve. I was on here at 1:00. Maybe you were late. Anyway, who cares? We're going to get started here. We got a lot to talk about. Steve's telling me to lay off the drugs. The only drug I'm on is caffeine, which is usually pretty evident. And that's usually in the form of Pepsi Cola. So anyway, this week we've got a lot to talk about because we actually worked on what I'm going to call some ancillary things this week. Different websites that we don't normally talk about, getting us into Bing, working specifically on Apple Maps. And a lot of people don't realize, when you're dealing with like Alexa and when you're dealing with Yelp, you're actually when you're dealing with Alexa and you're dealing with Apple and Siri, you're dealing with Yelp to an extent. So in other words, Apple, for instance, pulls their reviews directly from Yelp. So whatever Yelp says, that's where they're going to get their reviews. However, the Apple Maps technically is a separate thing. They get the reviews from Yelp, but not necessarily their local information. So you actually have to go into Apple itself and make sure that your stuff is correct, just like you would in Google My Business or Yelp or Bing or wherever. So those are some of the things that we worked on this week, were some of those extra places. Back a little while ago, I actually used, and I'm going to switch to my screen here for a second because you guys don't need to be staring at me because I'm not that important. This is actually Envato Elements for a different purpose. But the point being is, when you get into some of these other sites, they can be helpful. Now, I know a lot of people will sit there and say, well, everybody uses Google, so who cares about, Plurk or whatever. That's a joke for Steve there. The point is, though, that sometimes these things can show up. And so back a while ago, in fact, I'm going to pull it up here because we've talked about this before. I've actually used, let's spell that right, Fiverr. I've actually used this one before, and we've talked about this in some of the other podcasts that we do, but building local citations, okay? And so if we come into orders here, and you can see the first one that pops up is recommended by me or for me is this same one. This here is a gig that they go out and they build local citations on all the various different sites that are out there. And if we come down here, I'll even download the actual report so you can kind of see. Here it is. I've probably downloaded this 5 times now, but that's all right. We'll download it one more time to make sure that we've got it. And That's going to put me through. I don't know what all this. Come on, Fiverr. I just want to get my stuff. Here we go. So if we open this up here, you're going to see some of the ones that we've set ourselves up into. And this past week, not only did I go into places like Bing and make sure that things were completely accurate, I went into a lot of the ones that he did just to double check them and make sure that things worked, because there were at the time, and gosh, this is going to be completely unreadable for you guys. I don't know if I can blow it up. Yeah, that's not going to be very readable for you, but it's barely readable for me, by the way. These are the sites that, actually, let me see, can we zoom it in here? There we go. Here we can zoom it in. Okay. Wouldn't let me zoom it in the normal way, but there's actually a built-in thing in here. Okay. So there we go. I know that's not super easy to read there still, and you guys can steal my password and emails if you want there, and that's okay. You want to do that, go right for it. But you can see we put ourselves into Merchant Circle, Manta, Hot Frog, House, Bark, American Towns, Community Walk, Brown Book, Tupelo, Foursquare, Biz Community, Biz Votes, Where to Go, Easy Local, E-Business Pages, Biz Highway, Cataloxy, My Labor Job, Enroll Business, To Ugo, Fipple, Call Up Contact. Oh, Call Up Contact, I get it. Find us here, citydata.com, Go Best Now, iGlobal, Where Is It? Or Where's It? City Foss, sites.bubble life, Global Catalog, Ask Map, HR Business Live, Travel Full, Wholesome Free Ads, A to Z Business Finder, Go My Local, Just Paste It, Local.com, Yellow Book, Place 123, Yellow, Quora, Live Journal, 40 billion, To Find Local, City Base, B Review, QTel Plus, Teleaddressin, okay, iCare 211, HubBiz, Best of Web, iLocal, Yellow Pages. And you can see here, like when he did these, like this one here, he couldn't get past it. He had a server error. So I had to go in and try to fix that this week. This one here also would not, the iLocal would not connect as well. He got errors on those. So I had to go in and try to fix those up this week. But we got ourselves into all of those and already listed, obviously, Google My Business, Yahoo, Facebook, Bing, Yelp, MapQuest, Superpages, City Search, DexKnows, Insider Pages, Yellow Moxie, Where To App, Silex, and ga.yalwa.com. And as you can tell with a lot of these, I've never heard of any of these sites either. So yeah, Steve says, Ray is speaking in tongues. It certainly feels like it when I try to read all these things because I've never heard of half of these. But that doesn't matter because every time that you put yourself into one of these places, it's a citation that's going to help to rank your Google My Business or help your website to rank because you're getting name, address, phone number out there and people are seeing that name, address, phone number. Google's seeing name, address, phone number, and it's going to help to rank some of the more important things. And that's why we want to make sure that we're in all of these places to get the citations out there to help build up our Google My Business. Okay. Now with all of these here, like some of these, like the City Search and the Superpages and the MapQuest and the Yelp and the Bing. Bing I went into this week and I added things to it. I added more images and more information just to really boost that one up. Apple's not listed here. I did go into the Apple one and do that. The Superpages, the Yellow Pages, those are part of the same thing. DexKnows, part of the same one. And so I went in there to try and mess with that a little bit. There was a couple of them, like local.com and Yellow Book, that were not approved yet. And so I went in and I had to, search up and see if they had sent me a message, which I think Yellow Book had. And I also contacted them and said, hey, we put this listing in. Can you approve that? So hopefully they will. But we're getting all of these as citations so that we can build that Google My Business. And even though we may not have heard of these, just like when you're doing social media, a lot of times with social media, you do Facebook and you do Twitter and you do Instagram and you do YouTube. If you want to consider YouTube social media, it's a little different, but Um, there's still tons of other ones out there, like as Steve's favorite, Plurk. And by getting yourselves into all of those, it's only going to help because people are going to find you in weird places. I used to still do tons and tons of YouTube videos. Every once in a while, I'd get a call and somebody would say, yeah, I was watching your video on Daily Motion or Meta Cafe. And I sit there and go, people actually see that stuff on there? I can't believe it. But they do. And that can be very, very important. And that's why you want to make sure that you are everywhere. Make sure that you're in all of the social media sites. Make sure you're in LinkedIn. Make sure you're in Alignable. Get out there and get into all of these because they can be a big help. And not only did we make sure that these things were done this week, but I made sure that videos were going out to YouTube. I made sure that we were doing a lot more posting to Facebook. In fact, if we take a look at Facebook, so again, I like to kind of go over these each week and just kind of show you where we're at with some of these things. These are the ads we're running right now, which right now I'm about to start doing new ads for this week because only one is left running right now. The rest ended, and now I got to start them again for this week, or new ones for this week. But if we go into Escape Plan, you're going to see, we talked a couple of weeks ago about a lot of the different content that we're putting in there. And you'll see, like right here, we've got, this is kind of like it's not an ad, but it's a post that's kind of like an ad that I'm running right now. Okay. And I just put that one up. Over here, it's one does not simply escape the room without wanting to punch everyone they're with. So again, that was one that came up automatically that we've got scheduled from Bright Social. It goes out every day, these types of things. This one here is just hard times never last, but tough people do. So it's just fun little content there. Today is the No Rhyme or No Reason Day. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Actually, that was yesterday, isn't it? Because today's what, the 2nd? Yeah. So this was yesterday. So a new one will come out today at some point that'll say what today's day is. But this one was from yesterday. And come down here. This is from yesterday. Again, another just inspirational quotes. Here's a little game. Can you find the mistake? By the way, can you find the mistake? Let me know. Again, more of this type of content. Now, we've been closed since Sunday because we're not open on Monday and Tuesday, which is why you're mostly seeing this content like National Matchmaker Day. And then here's a customer review. So this is another one that came directly from Rep Videos and was sent to Facebook. Okay. And then now we're back into the games down here. And you can see we've got a bunch of the games. We've got some puzzles, word plexer puzzles. These are, I don't know why they call them word plexer, because that's not what these types of puzzles are called, but that's okay. And how many of you can figure these out? Ooh. Okay. And these are all, again, just to fill things with fun. This is an interesting one here. This is a post that we made for a product called Solve a Mystery Online. Now, I want to tell you why I did this one. One, it's a fun little site, but watch what happens when we click on this particular article, website, whatever you want to call it, this particular place. Okay. So when we click on this, it's going to open up this 5-minute mysteries site. Okay, there it is. But now watch what happens. Oh, look at this. There's a little banner at the bottom of the page. And what does it say? It says Escape Plan. Now solve a mystery in person. Book your escape room game right now. So on this guy's site that we just said, hey, it's awesome, go check out a mystery, figure one out, we've got our little ad on there. And by the way, that comes in handy because it's going to continue. So this week's mystery is Battle of the Bulge. So let's open up Battle of the Bulge. Oh, look, our banner is still there. Well, of course, it says we cannot find that page. Let's try that again. It's your page, dude. There we go. Battle of the Bulge. Oh, look, there's our ad on Battle of the Bulge. While they spend their 5 minutes, they've got our banner in the bottom corner. So that's a really, really cool feature that we've been using with a lot of stuff lately is when we're sharing this is we've got our banner here. And of course, if they click on this to book now, well, it's going to take them right to our page where they can book the game. And so that's something that we've been using for, well, technically I've been playing around with it for a couple of weeks, but we've only been using it, really intently for the last, few days or so. But this is a very, very cool thing that allows you to share anything and have your banner pop up. So if we share even things like, down below somewhere amidst all this content, who knows if I'll ever find it. I did an article from Time Magazine about using escape rooms for businesses. And what did I use? Well, I used that to make sure that our banner popped up on the Time Magazine website. And if anyone's interested in the program that we're using for that, it's called Lead Grab is the program, I believe. Is the name of it. See, it should still be open here. Yeah, it's right here. So it's Lead Grab. You can see I've got it open here still because that's the one that we did. But that gives you a bunch of, different things you can set up. Whoops. That's a fun little program that you can use for that. Which tool is creating the banner on the other site? Yeah, Lead Grab. And I think I've got, see if I've got, if anyone's interested in that. I thought I created a link for it, but maybe I didn't. I'll have to get the link for it. I thought I had one in here, but maybe I do not. Let me see. If I log back in first. It should be right there. I'm surprised. I thought I'd made Lead Kahuna. I thought I'd made a link for that because I did mail out about it the other day when I showed that I was using it. I sent out an email, so I'll have to pull that up and send that over. I will, when I put up the replay, I'll put that into the show notes. And then maybe towards the end today, I'll grab that and share it with you guys. So I'm not sure what link I used then if it wasn't that. I'll have to look it up and see. But yeah, so that's the kind of content that we're using in there. And you can see, once again, we're up 35% still on people reached. We're up 51% on post engagements, which is, I think last week we're in the 40s. So that's gone. Page likes, it says down 27%, but it's actually up from where we were, because last week it was at 47 and this time it's at 62 in the last week. So last week we did 47. This week we did 62 more people. So not terrible, not great. But I'm not really focusing on page likes right now. I'm kind of focusing on just getting the content out to the people we do have and putting it into my timeline to make sure that people see it. Now, I want to share with you some of the things that I'm doing when I do this, because I think it's important to show this. So typically what I'm doing is, if I'm going to do a promotion like this here, so this one here says, if you can see it, ever think about camp stories and think about what camp stories are real and which ones are made up. Do you have a favorite camp story to share? Come be part of solving one of those scary campfire stories at Camp Rutledge, if you dare, of course. So this is The Haunting of Camp Rutledge, one of our games. Yes, Steve, I'll get into that in a second. So what I've got here is I've got that post. I've got a link directly to Camp Rutledge, which I made sure that this image here is the Camp Rutledge default image, okay, on the website. So when I put in this website, Facebook's going to pull up that image automatically. And then I put in some hashtags here, okay? So now, typically what I will do with this is I'm going to copy this. And the first thing that I would do is I would switch to me here. So now you can see it's my icon instead of the page itself. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to share it. And I'm going to write it in a post, which I've already done. So we can share that out in a post there. Facebook, the new Facebook's kind of weird. So I paste in. We didn't used to have to do this, but now I paste back in that information there. Okay. Now there's good and bad to this. The good is this is going to go out to my timeline. My timeline has more people in it that might come out and play the games and pay us versus just putting it in here. Technically I hit share, but you'll notice it's not sharing from my page at all. And that's something that changed in Facebook. And that's why I pasted in this information here, because I'm not going to get much benefit to my page by doing this. When I hit share, and again, we'll hit share, write a post. Okay. It's not showing that it's being shared from my page anymore. Now, in certain situations it does, but in this situation it doesn't. It's kind of weird. And it's not showing the text either. So I just paste the text back in here because to me, in this particular case, what I'm doing right now, it's more important to get the message out there than it is to necessarily be sharing from my page. Ideally, we'd want to get the message out there and share it from the page so that people know that it's from this particular page. I would hit post. Now, I already did this just a little while ago, so I'm not going to do that again right now anyway. But if we come down here, now if I, on this one here, if I hit share, I'm going to switch over to me again, and I'd be willing to bet that this one's going to show that content. But let's hit share and see, right? Post. And so you look there, this one, it does show it. So there's something different with the content, and I'm not sure exactly what it is that changes that, but you can see right here, it did put the text and the links down there just like it had up here. Okay, but for some reason, this one, it didn't do that. Don't know why. But in any case, so we'd share that one out. In fact, let me double check and make sure. I believe I already sent that out. Maybe I didn't, but I think I did. Let's go to me. And we'll see if I did. No, I didn't. Okay. So we'll go back and we will do that. All right. So we're going to go in here. We're going to do that exactly like I just said. We're going to hit share. I'm going to write a post. I'm going to paste that in here. And I'm going to hit post. And so now that's going to share that out to my timeline, which of course has more people that interact with me than the page does. Now, hopefully someday this page will have a lot more people that are there and interact, but it's going to be slow going. So we share it out to there. The next thing that I like to do is come back in here. And this time I'm going to share with a group. Okay. And in here, it says, say something about this. I'm going to actually paste that information back in there just because why not? And then I'm going to share it with the appropriate groups. Now, sharing it to my normal Facebook groups here, like online video marketers and spokesperson, doesn't make any sense. However, I will share it to this small business one in our local area. Why not? I'm going to share it to this local business group that I'm in. I'm going to share it with Snellville area small businesses. I'm going to share it with Loganville services. And before you say, wait a minute, aren't they going to get mad at you? No, these are groups that everybody does this, that they share business information with. Okay. Let's see, Lilburn Snellville Business Network. Yep. Gwinnett County Local Business Services. Yep. Gwinnett Business Advertising. Yep. Keep going down here. Snellville Area Restaurants. No. Walton Strong. That's the chamber. We just finally got our new membership into the chamber, so we'll share it to them. Okay. Walton County Online Flea Market, where no one is deleted. Good. Don't delete me for this either then. Heart of Gwinnett Networking. Yep. So all these groups. I love when Facebook does this, though. It goofs up the thing here. Now I got to go back down. There we go. I'm going to keep going through here, and we're going to see where we want to share this to. What's up, Loganville? Why not, right? And let's see. Anywhere else? I know there's probably a couple more in here. Restaurants, we don't need that. Marietta, Georgia business groups, sure, why not? Okay, but you get the idea. That's what we're going to share it to, is all of those groups. We're going to close that off. And if you have any other pages you want to share it to, which I don't really have any pages to share it with, but you could choose one of your pages and you could share it there as well. Get that in there. Okay, and so now that's going to go out to all of those groups, but we're not done there. No, not by a long shot. We also want to go and we want to jump into LinkedIn. Okay. And so inside of LinkedIn, I'm going to paste that here as well. Paste that in. It's going to pull up that same image. It's going to use the same hashtags. Boom, there we go. So now we're going to post that here. Okay. I'm also going to go to my page inside of LinkedIn. And you can see we get some of the same stuff shared out into here as well. Okay. We're going to create a post for that. Maybe. Come on. There we go. Paste that same in here. Come on, LinkedIn. What's going on? There we go. Now it's going to try and paste it twice, isn't it? All right. There we go. We're going to paste that in there. And boom. Now we've got our information in here. Are we done? No, we're not done yet. Of course we're not done. Now we're going to go and we're going to head on over to Nextdoor. Okay. Nextdoor, by the way, another great site to get some local things in, and they even allow you to add your business in now. So we've added our business into Nextdoor as well. We're going to post a message here, choose the category. Category for this one is probably just going to be general. Okay, we're going to paste that in there. Escape room. Okay. And again, hashtags don't mean anything on here, so we can remove those. And we're just going to hit post. So now we've got our stuff inside of Nextdoor as well. So within just a couple of minutes, we've probably reached, 1,000 people, or going to reach 1,000 people. And that's really going to help people get excited. Now, the cool thing is we don't get a ton of action off of Nextdoor. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've gotten people that have come in because of Nextdoor, but we don't get a lot of necessarily comments and things like that on our Nextdoor stuff. We get a few likes here and there. But what I have done is you can see for people that have liked it. So this person here liked one of the posts that we made, and you can see who liked your stuff. So I'll come in here and I said, hey, saw that you thanked my post. I wanted to invite you. Wow, what the heck did I spell there? I wanted to invite you to come to a room. Wow, what the heck happened there? If you use the code GAME5 when you book, you will save $5. So be careful when you type. I probably did it with my phone. But basically, I thanked her for doing that and invited her and gave her a coupon. So I did that with, a number of people in here. Okay. And again, it's got that same, I'm copied and pasted it clearly. So I'm going to make sure I don't do that again. But that's going to help. And you can see people do reach back. Hey, it's right next door. I've been meaning to visit. Awesome. I will take a look and get to booking. Thank you for reaching out. Okay. So these are the types of things that you may not think about doing, and you may be too quote unquote busy to do, but these are things that can help to build. Even though it's not your traditional stuff, you can get in there and you can really, get people to take action and get people to notice you. And we're getting a lot more people that are coming in going, wow, I didn't even know you were here. And I saw it on Nextdoor. I saw it on Facebook. And people do say that. Just so we can check this out here, right now, you can see it says revenue collected in the last 7 days is $5,589. That's because we've been closed the last few days. At the end of last week, we were at $5,200. Now, it's kind of funny to look at this and go, "Hey, we did $5,200 in sales in the last week." On a business where we have to pay rent, we have to pay heat, we have to pay employees, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't seem like a lot of money. I mean, we've done, we've done a webinar, and at the end of the webinar made $10,000 in that 1 hour, so when I see that in a week we did 5,000 and it's like, woo, all right, that's kind of scary, but we're building quickly. And like I said, right now, the goal of this place is not really for me to make money. I mean, obviously, eventually we want to make money off of it, but right now the goal is for this place to pay for itself and put money away, pay for itself and put money away. And we need, in order to break even, we need to do about $2,500, a little less than $2,500 a week. Okay. And so we did 52 at the end of last week. So last week was $5,200. So we literally doubled, a little more than doubled that. When we took this place over, they were probably averaging $1,800 a week. Maybe a little more than that sometimes, but it had been about $1,800 when they first opened up after COVID. It did jump up a little bit, and they were probably doing about $2,000 to $2,200. But now, we're doing 45 and 52, and we've averaged over 3,500 since we took over. Which again just doesn't sound like a ton of money, but when you have to pay all employees and everything, but as long as we can pay the bills and get by, that's where it gets exciting. And so we're definitely doing that. And we're being able to test all of our marketing on this. And clearly the marketing works, because this weekend, as Steve alluded to in the comments here earlier, this weekend we actually had a record week. We had a record day. On Saturday, we had 22 rooms, which is the most that this place has ever done, even at Christmas time. It's never done 22 rooms before in a day. It had done 18. We did 18 a couple of weeks ago, and they've done 18 to 20 a couple of times during the holiday season. So from like November through New Year's, they've had some weeks that were close to that, or some days that were close to that, but they'd never done 22. So we set a record, and in a non-holiday season. So that's really, really incredible and a little bit scary for if we can keep it going and we do get the holiday boom. We actually ran out of rooms on Saturday. We actually created new slots later at night just so people could play because we had none left. We were busy all day long, but we had extra rooms during the day that people could have come in and played, but they all came in the evening. And so we only have so many listed and we sold out to the point where we actually created a couple of extra ones to fit some people in. Which is really exciting. And then Sunday was actually really good for a Sunday as well. We're only open for a few hours on Sunday, much less than any other day of the week. But we actually had quite a few rooms. I think we had, we averaged more than a room an hour, which is pretty good for a Sunday. Friday was also a pretty good day. So we did well on Friday, which usually Friday doesn't start getting busy until 5 o'clock. So it's a much later crowd, and we did very well then too. So it was a very strong weekend. On that Saturday, I can't remember what the revenue was for that Saturday, but it was a record revenue, record number of people, and record number of rooms. We did 94 people, so we almost hit 100 people. And I think a couple weeks ago we did well. We did 86. On that weekend, we had 18 rooms, which was also really high. Christmas time, they've gotten days where they've had 80 to 90 people, but 94 was a record. 22 rooms was a record, and whatever the amount of money for that particular day was also a record. So, it's great to take credit for things like, hey, I did social media and we made more sales, or we ran advertising and we made more sales. But I think it's pretty undeniable at this point in time that the stuff that we talk about doing in our marketing, the YouTube ads, the Facebook posts, the Facebook setup, the Facebook ads, the social media setups, the postings on social media, the advertising that we run through other places like Yelp or whatever. Well, I won't use Yelp because honestly, I don't think that Yelp has worked out well for the advertising. Yelp works out great just for being listed, but I don't think the advertising there is making much of a difference. But all of these things that we talk about doing, getting in the directories, it seems to really, really work well. We're not talking about theory. We're not talking about, my client said that they're up 20%. No, I mean, we can see every single number in here. We know what we've done. When we started this business, they had a Facebook page that they would have just pictures of the players. So, these pictures that we see down here, this is all they would have, is just these every day, which is good, but they didn't have more content. And you can see we're reaching way more people now. We're getting way more engagements, and they were spending a lot more than we are on advertising with Facebook too. Having this different type of content besides just the pictures, having some games and things like that, is getting the engagement to grow. It's getting more people in the door. The running of the ads, we're getting more people in the door, and there's really no way to deny that we started doing all these things. We started running better ads. We started posting on social media. We started doing YouTube videos. They didn't even have a YouTube channel. Okay. We're posting on Instagram. We're posting on Twitter. They weren't doing that. We can see a huge difference because of this. And we haven't even started with some of the other things that we're doing right now. I believe I may have mentioned last week that we've started to do some advertising in more offline ways. Like, for instance, we hooked up with a guy that creates menus for local restaurants, and we're going to have our business card little thing on their menus. Okay, so that's a new thing that we're starting. We're going to be in 5 restaurants for an entire year, where they're going to sit down and they're going to be able to see our stuff on their menu. In fact, if we go to Photoshop, here's another thing that we're working on right now: family nights. So this is going to be starting next Tuesday. On Tuesday, which currently we're not even open on Tuesdays, but next Tuesday we start opening on Tuesdays, and it's for family night. $15 each for parties of 4 or more. So 4 or more people come in, $15 each instead of $28 each. Huge savings. And this is great for families because, I might get together with a bunch of friends and we might each be willing to pay $28, but it only costs us $28. You got a family of 4, family of 5, you're paying a lot of money for that. $115 or so. That's a lot of money for a family. And that's why we wanted to do family nights where they come in with their families. They got 4 people. It's only going to cost them $60. That's about the cost of 2 normal tickets. And they're going to get in that room. If they got, 6 or 8 people, the savings are even greater. And so that's what we wanted to do to really boost those Tuesday nights, get families to be able to go out that might not be able to justify spending so much money for, all 4 of them to go out and do that. So that's exciting. We made that there. But what I wanted to share, these are our rack cards. We're also working on some new rooms, this here, I've been working on this graphic here for our zombie room. It's not going to be called Zombie Apocalypse, but I just used that just to show the words that are in there. So we're working on some of that here. There's that family. I don't know if I still have it open here or not. Apparently I do not. Zombie Apocalypse. I thought I had it open still, but let me open up. Let's see, there it is, menu ad. So this here is what's going to be on the menus of 5 different restaurants in the area. So it's going to say save $5 with code GAME5, which actually I changed that. It's going to be menu 5, so we know it comes from the menus at checkout. And then it's got all the information here. Okay. And this is going to be on the menus of 5 places. So that could bring in a lot of people. They could be sitting there eating their lasagna and scan that button right there and set themselves up with something to do afterwards. Okay. And I think last week I also talked about that we've been kind of reaching out and doing posts mentioning other restaurants and things. And maybe we post too much because now I got to scroll through all this just to find it. Yeah. You can see Saturday, lots and lots of pictures over the weekend. And now Facebook's not going to load. There we go. Come on, Facebook. Jeepers. Yeah, you can see this is a picture I took. I thought I deleted this. My wife's like, people aren't wearing masks. You should take that down. And I thought I had, but I guess not. But you can see this was just in the middle of the afternoon on Saturday. All these people just waiting and trying to get into a room, which is pretty incredible. So come on. I want to get down here and show you this. Hopefully we can find it someday. This actually here, this was a couple that came in from a thing called Macaroni Kid, where they put out a newsletter for parents showing them things to do. They came in and played Camp Rutledge, and they're going to leave a review of that. And so that's a good thing to have. More puzzles, more people. Let's get down to, hey, Chop Suey Day. All right. Come on. I'm waiting for like Pizza Day and Spaghetti Day so I can tag some of the local restaurants with that. Boy, oh boy, slow and slow. By the way, here's I put this out the other day. This is something else I wanted to show you too. So I put out, think this is too scary and not scary enough for our coming zombie room. Okay. So that's there. And you can see we've got, a few comments on it. Here's one of the restaurants that we are going to be on the menu of, which is the Main Street restaurant. And I tried to tag them on here and it wouldn't let me. It was driving me crazy. For whatever reason, it did not want to let me. Doing some live content here and there. Okay, let's see more puzzles. I want to get down to one of these here. I don't want to waste too much time, but let's get down here. Down, 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 down. Come on. You can see more posts just about the rooms themselves, more brain teasers. Here's a review. This one came from Rep Kahuna. Okay, here's one here. So we went to Miss Dot's Diner and Sweet Shop for a nice lunch. What a cool place. Perfect to grab a bite before or after a game. And then a link to book a game. And you can see Dot Moore right there was one of the people that liked it. Dot Moore is the owner of Dots. And I hadn't met her up until that point. After, I just kind of went in just to check it out. Very cool little place. But I tagged them in it and she saw that. That's going to be huge. We're going to be on their menu as well. So that's one of the places we'll be on the menu with. And so that's a really, really cool thing to be able to just kind of call out some of these guys and share pictures of your visit. And I did this on my timeline as well, where I put these pictures in and I tagged Miss Dots and, tagged the escape room and everything. And so she saw that we did that. So that's going to build some goodwill with other businesses in the area, along with getting ourselves into their menus. So just some fun stuff that we did there to make sure that we're noticed by that. I've been talking a lot. If you guys got any questions about anything, throw them out there, because we definitely want to make sure that you're getting enough out of this that it's worth your time each week to jump in here. So let me know. Let me know if you got any questions about any of this stuff, or things that you're worrying about or wondering about or want to try out with people. But the big thing here is, because the exciting thing is, because it's our own business, we can do everything that we've ever talked about. Things that, we've tried to convince business owners, hey, you should do this, it works. And they're like, I don't know, and they don't want to do it. Well, we can show them, hey, it works. We do have the YouTube channel, which I'm sad to say is probably one of the more neglected things that we have, is our YouTube channel. It is getting fresh content on there, but not the stuff that I wanted to get on there. Let's see, that's Peach Smiles. Let's switch that account. And let's see. There we go. Escape plan. So like I said, this is kind of and the reason that I say this is the most neglected thing that we have is because obviously we have to create videos, and creating videos is not always the fastest and easiest thing to do. We've only got 55 subscribers so far. It's only been a couple of weeks that we've had it here. But we're getting some traction. We get 2,500 views there, 25, 376, 507, 532, 820. So, 5,000 reviews on this one here, or views rather, 1,000, 2,500. So people are watching these and whatnot, but it's a little neglected in that I want to make some original content and get it out there, but I'm always so busy with everything. And the sad part is, and this is totally true for any of you that have multiple businesses, I often, when I'm doing things for Escape Plan, I feel like I'm neglecting what I quote unquote should be doing. And, it's a tough balance. It really is. But I do want to start creating a lot more videos for this. You can see a lot of the videos that we do are the review videos, and those are going in every couple of days. Review videos are going in because we have a lot of reviews. And so Rep Videos is pushing out, and you saw on the Facebook page, one of the Rep Videos. Rep Videos is pushing these out every couple of days. So there is new content going on here all the time, but it's mostly the review videos right now. I really want to start doing things like content like, how to use a directional lock. So if you're stuck in a room, here's how you use a directional lock. If you see one of these, make sure you do this, things like that. Tips for escape rooms. Anything that's going to get attention and help people, we want to start putting into this. We just got to sit down and do it. And it's tough because I'm running, my other business as well. And I've got some other things in the pipeline that you guys don't even know about that's sucking up a lot of times too. So Sam says, I know you've answered this many times, but where are the replays for these two series? Okay, so Sam, I will put that in here right now. http://www. Oh wait, no, it's www.raiselinks.com/LMM. And that's going to get you to sign up. If you go there and you've already signed up before and you try to put your information in, it should recognize that you've already signed up and take you to the login. If you don't know your login and password, Sam, just reach out to me afterwards and I can help you with that. Okay. So again, YouTube, we definitely want to build on that. But this past week, the big things we've been, Dale says the Photoshop series over. Yes, the Photoshop series ended at the same time as the old local one. We just kind of ran out of things to talk about. So, and like towards the last week of that one, Dale, I was kind of like, what the heck are we going to talk about this time? I'm like, so I said, so that's when I said, you know what, we've done this for a while and I think we've taught everything we're going to teach. But yes, that one is over, and you can access that one and all the replays in the membership area as well. So that's inside of there. Again, definitely want to boost this up a little bit here. Going back, the other thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that if you're working with a local business, this is going to be something that they have to do. But I want to bring it up because I've found it's a very important thing and something that kind of gets ignored a little bit, and that is getting the reviews. Now, for me, getting reviews is a vital thing. And let's go out to, we haven't jumped in here for a little bit, but let's jump into Google My Business. I'd noticed that for the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden, we're not getting tons of reviews anymore like we were. Oh, come on. Let's go. What's up with that? I don't need to type in the name of my business. I just need you to let me in. Oh, you know why? Because we're locked in this here. That's the one we want to go to. Go back to here. All right. There we go. We're not getting a ton of new reviews. And so one of the reasons is when we were first getting going, I was really pushing hard with the employees. You got to give out these review cards, give out the review cards, give out the review cards, give out the review cards. And for the last like 2 weeks or so, I noticed that then the stack of review cards isn't disappearing very quickly. So I started to reiterate with them, end of last week, hey, we got to be giving away these cards. We got to get people to leave reviews. And on Saturday and then on Sunday, it was really busy, but I went out and started giving some of those cards out. And we did start to get a review or two. I love this one here from November. Oh, it's because this one probably hasn't been replied to because it's from back in 2018. But you want to make sure that you check these things out, see what kind of reviews you're getting, make sure that you reply to them. And I think last week we got a couple of Google ones. We got a couple of Facebook ones. So it is still growing, but it's not like it was just because they're not pushing it. And I noticed that the upsells, they're not pushing like they used to. So I really got to get them to jump back in and start to really, really push those things, the reviews and the upsells, because the upsells were really helping out. And we've got to start doing that again. So in here, let's go to the reviews and we'll see what we got here. So you can see, 5 days ago and then 3 weeks ago. So we only got one last week. Okay. And you can see I replied to it the same day. What's great about this, and I'm pretty vigilant about it, is these pop up on my phone. And so I can immediately respond to them. And that's what we try to do. We try to respond to them right away. There's still old ones from like a couple years ago that haven't been responded to. And I've been going in every once in a while and finding some of those old ones and responding to the old ones saying, hey, just wanted to thank you for this. By the way, if you want to come back in, feel free, in the hopes of kind of re-engaging people with that. So again, got to keep on top of this. And this is something that you've got to get your clients to do. So if you're working with a dentist, you have got to get him to be pushing for reviews. If you're working with a plumber, you've got to get them to be pushing for reviews because it's only going to help you. And again, right now our reviews have tailed off. People are happy. I haven't had anybody complain about anything, but we're not getting reviews because we're not asking. People are much more likely to want to leave a bad review than to take the time to leave a good review. So you really do have to give them a card and say, hey, if you leave a review on here, if you leave feedback, there's a coupon code in here for next time. And it'll get people to do it. You just have to really, get those cards in your hands. I literally go out to, I just go to Office Depot. And in fact, I went there this morning. I got to go back after I came home for the webinar because they were kind of busy. And now I got to go back out to Home Depot or Office Depot and get the cards again. So I just printed off another 100 of those cards just so we have extras on hand because we're getting low here, which is part of the reason why some of the employees said, well, we weren't really giving them out because we're getting low. Like, I don't care if you're getting low. Give them out. Give them all out. I will get more. And that's what I did today. So I went and got more. So everybody who comes through, we want to hand out these cards and say, hey, give us your feedback here and there's a coupon code inside. Now you'll notice that my wording here is give us feedback here. So I'm not saying leave us a review. I'm saying give us feedback. And there's a reason for that. And we talked about that in the past, but I want to show it again because I think it is important. This is done through Rep Kahuna members. And Dale says, have you thought about offering a return visit when they're getting ready to leave and offer it at a nice discount? Yep, we do that. That's what I mentioned earlier when I said that they weren't doing the upsells nearly as much. When we were getting a ton of upsells, that's what it was. Every single party that came out, we said to them, hey, if you guys have time and you want to do another room right now, we'll give you 20% off. And when they say, oh, you know what, we got dinner plans, we can do that. Okay, well, if you book now for another date, we can give you 15% off. And so that's what we've been trying to get them to push. And when they were pushing it, Are you ready for this? You guys may not believe this because I didn't believe it either. It's crazy. When we were making, excuse me, I shouldn't say when we were making, well, yeah. When I was making sure that the employees were offering these discounts to everybody that came out, we were getting 50% that bought more that day. 50% would say, yeah, let's book for next Saturday. Or, you know what? We got a little bit of time before dinner or whatever. Let's do another room. 50 freaking percent. I could not believe that it was that high. And so now, had we tried to do that this Saturday, we wouldn't have been able to do that, but we could have offered the 15%. In fact, with one of them, I gave them 20% off this weekend because I was out there helping out too a little bit. I gave them 20% off for the, book a room the same day, but that we couldn't fit them in. So they're coming back this Saturday, but I gave them the same day discount because they would have done the same day if they could, but they couldn't just because it was too busy. So yeah, that's what we do offer. But let's pop into Rep Kahuna for a momento. And I'll show you what I mean by the cards. I think I've showed these to you guys before, but we'll show them again just because when we were using them, when these guys were using them actively, I should say, it was very, very effective. Let's see, escape plan. Okay. So you can see right now we've got 151 total reviews, 151 from the start, feedback, 25 total feedback reviews. And so you can see here, somebody did on Facebook 2 days ago. They left a 5-star review on Facebook, which is kind of funny that it shows 5 stars because Facebook doesn't do 5 stars anymore. They just do yes or no. So it's either 5 stars or none. Not yet published. Save $5. So that's Foursquare. That's another one that I worked on this week, by the way, is Foursquare, getting that set up. So this is that same lady here, Jennifer Wright. This place is amazing. So she left that. Facebook on the 16th. So people were, it's slowed down. At the end of July, we were getting a lot. We got some TripAdvisors, we got some Google, we got some Facebook, which is good. I want to see this variety, but I want to see more. I want to see a lot more of this kind of stuff. And then I apologize. I've had this new version of Rep Kahuna for like 2 months now, and I still get confused as to where the heck everything is because I'm so used to the old one. Let's see. Want to get to the feedback stats. So we got 25 feedback reviews here, and I forget how long a period that is. You can see I got 1 3-star. Now, here's what's cool about this, okay? So in the last 30 days, we've gotten 25 total reviews and 1 3-star. Now, this is feedback reviews. This is not Google. This is not Facebook. This is not Yelp. This is not TripAdvisor. This is in our internal system. So 25 people in the last 30 days, which, by the way, I think in the 30 days before that, we did a lot more than 25. I think it was like 100 and something. So in the last 30 days, 25 more have done it. Now, 1 did leave a 3-star review. This did not go onto any of the public sites. This is only internally. So I was able to reach out to this guy and talk to him. And his 3-star review, by the way, was nothing with, you guys were mean or anything. What it was is it was the first time he'd ever done an escape room, and he felt like he didn't know what he was doing going in. That was his reason for the 3 stars. He says he didn't have as much fun because he wasn't sure what he was supposed to be doing. So we've talked about this, and we try to tell people a little bit more about, we ask them, have you done an escape room? Here's what you need to be doing when you're in there. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. And that'll definitely help. But it was from this 3-star feedback here, which did not go public. It was only internal, which is great. Out of these 24, as we saw in the last 30 days, probably only 10 of those 24 went out publicly. We want the other 14 to go out publicly. Okay. And so we'll reach out to these people that left these feedbacks and say, hey, thanks for the feedback. Would you mind? And then they were given that at the time. Would you mind doing this and jumping in? And they were able to do that. But, we'll go back and we'll reach out to them again. Now, the media center is where we're dealing with all of this. So this is the cards that you can make. Okay. And I think I've showed this before. I'm pretty sure I've showed this before, but I want to show you what I printed out today so that you guys get a good idea of this. So coming in here, you have all of your different print materials. So what I have is I've got the business review cards. So this one right here in the top, let me blow that up. This one in the top left, this is the one that I had printed out today. Okay, so they're printed on regular business cards. I just get them done at Office Depot because they don't have to be perfect, and they won't be. And I only do the front side. You can do front and back. I only do the front side. And I just tell people, I'm like, hey, if you scan this code and leave us feedback, you'll get a discount on your next thing. And there's a coupon code inside the feedback that allows them to do that. Okay. And when the employees were giving those out religiously with every single person that came out, we were getting a lot of reviews. And then now they've slowed down, and it's slowed down. But when they come in and they see that the card racks are refilled, I think that's going to, get them to give it out. Because I think they were, as one of them said, well, we were getting low, so I didn't want to really give them out. And they did say, well, sometimes we have grumpy people that are in there and we don't give them out to those grumpy people. But, honestly, give it out to the grumpy people because, again, it's going to be internal. Unless, if they leave something negative, we're only going to see it. It's not going to go public. So it's okay. There's no reason not to do that. And so that's why I tell, just give them out and don't worry about whether we're running low because we'll always be able to print more. So with that, that's what's been going on this week. Again, we've seen more growth this past week was by far our biggest week. We set records this past week. And, some would say, well, people just want to get, we've been back out since May in this area. May is when, everything went back to quote unquote normal. Yes, people still wear masks, but you could go out to restaurants, you could go to different places. So it's since about May, middle of May. So that means we've had June. He had May, at the end of May, he had June, and he had the very beginning of July. We've had July, middle of July through the end of August. And, we've more than doubled what they were doing. And they had middle of May when people were like, oh, finally I can go out. He saw a big spike. Well, he obviously saw a big spike because it was zero, but he saw a big spike even compared to before the coronavirus. But even if you go back to before the coronavirus, they were still only doing, half of what we're doing right now. In fact, we can, if we want to take a peek at that, we can kind of look and see just to get an idea. So if we go back to sales, let's go back to when coronavirus started, somewhere in the beginning of March, middle of March. So if we do a sales report and we'll do it by item, and we'll do custom range. So if we do, let's just change this from 8 to 3. Actually, let's see. Let's do this again here. So March 4th was a Wednesday. So we'll do Wednesday to the 8th, which is a Sunday. Okay, and we'll see what they did there. Hopefully that wasn't during coronavirus, but I don't think it was. I think that was a little before that. So that week they did 2,000 in sales. Okay, so they were doing 2,000 before coronavirus even hit, and this past week we did 5,200. So more than double what they were doing at that point. And then when we came back, so let's see. I'm not sure when. I know it was in May, but I'm not sure when. So let's just do the 13th through the 17th. Which is not a week, but we're open from Wednesday to Sunday, so that's a work week. They might have done, let's see, okay, that must have been before, well, they made some money, so that must have been, let's do the next week, because that might have been, maybe they opened, who knows when, but let's do the 20th through the 24th. Let's see when they went back here, 544. So still not doing well there. Let's do the 27th. Through the 31st. They would definitely open at this point. Okay, and so they did 1,700. So again, we're way more than doubling them right now. Will that continue? I don't know. This past week was a record week. The week before was actually a slower week. It had actually gone down a little bit. So not down, but down from where it had been. You know, we'd done like $4,000 the week before, and then that week we did like 3,200. So it had gone down, and then this week we went way up. And hopefully this week that's starting today, hopefully this week will get even better. But in any case, I just want to share this because, like I said at the beginning, when we started this series each week, we're going to go into the books and we're going to see actual numbers, and it's hard to refute the numbers. $1,700 here versus $5,200 now. You know, and even if we go, let's do one more here. Let's go back to August of 19, which it would have been the last week of August. So we would go from, let's see, that would be the 28th through September, which would be 1st. So that same week, the last year, let's see how they did. So maybe that was an up week for them too. I don't know. They did $2,200. So, and we did 52. So clearly something is changing and getting people in. And the only things that we've changed are doing our social media, doing our YouTube videos, doing our Facebook ads, doing our Google ads. All of these things help. And one other thing we're going to talk about next week, I'm going to talk about tracking and how do you make sure that you know where your advertising is coming from, or not even advertising, but where your marketing efforts are coming from. Because we did some neat things this week that we just started that hopefully will help us to know where that's coming from better. But we'll talk about that next week. So I've kept you here a little more than an hour. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about the advertising and some of the marketing efforts, how we're tracking these things, how we're going to track them going forward. And, you know, hopefully figure out, hey, this is where most of our stuff is coming from. And it's going to take a couple of months probably before we really know the answer to that. But we're hoping that this will help to determine that. So we'll talk about that next week. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out throughout the week. You can email me. You can contact me in any way you want. I'll be glad to help out and answer when I can. And again, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next time.